everybody. Welcome to the JT Pitstop. There's an echo because I forgot to do that. There we go. Welcome. Yeah, as you can see, I have not been on stream for a while. I have not been feeling that great this week, but I'm feeling better now. And what better way to get back into action than the Bristol Dirt edition of the JT Pitstop? So, I am Joe. There's Trevor, right there. And we're going to talk some dirt racing to you guys for the next little bit here. So, at the end of the day, Christopher Bell got his first win of the season on the dirt track.
There goes my playoffs.
Yeah, there goes your playoffs. Funny story. He is the first actual dirt racer to actually win the Dirt Bristol race in its third year. So, good for him.
Yeah.
But
Cool.
we had a long journey to get to this point. So, let's break it down. It all started with a couple of heat races on Saturday that were used to set the field instead of traditional qualifying. So they set these fields. Every driver basically drew a number out of a bucket that said your heat number and position. So all the heats were pretty much randomly generated, which created a lot of chaos. Because you had some fields that just like had a bunch of back markers, and you had some that just like had all the front runners in them, and it was just a whole mixed bag. None of the heats were like super action packed. There were a couple with incidents, and we'll break those down for you. Trevor, did you get a chance to watch the heat races or no? Not yet.
I was in Mexico, no.
Okay, no worries. I'll talk about them for you. So, in the first heat race, there was one yellow in the first heat race for Josh Berry. Josh Berry, his first time ever racing on dirt, as far as I know, especially in the Cup car.
Yes.
I'm sure he's done some small dirt track stuff in preparation for this, but you know, it was his first time racing NASCAR on dirt. He's never run the Truck Series. He's never run the Cup Series on dirt. And the Xfinity Series does not go to a dirt track. So kudos to them for not going to a dirt track.
Yep.
So with that, that was the only yellow, and Austin Dillon walked away with the win in heat number 1. It was actually probably my favorite of the 4 heat races. I thought it was an interesting one. Heat number 2, incident free, no on track incidents in heat number 2. Ryan Blaney went on to win that heat race. Heat number 3, same story. No on-track incidents in that heat, and Kyle Larson went on to win that one. Heat number 4, there was one incident on track. Daniel Suarez spun around. And then Bubba Wallace went on to win heat number 4. So, after the qualifying races were set, that set us up our field. And let me tell you, this race was a doozy. There was a lot happening in this race, and we got a lot to talk about here. So, starting off, the first incident of the day out of, I don't even know how many. I didn't even keep count because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of them that didn't bring out yellow flags, and TV did not pick up on.
Right.
Which was bizarre watching this race. So the first incident of the day, Bubba Wallace gets loose, starts spinning out. Joey Logano tries to check up. William Byron, I don't know if he just couldn't see the wreck or just didn't care. Kind of just pile drove Joey Logano right into the wreck. And Logano spun out and clipped the sand barrels.
Yep.
And that was the start of a rough night for Joey Logano. And the 38 got collected in that mess as well. So that was a very interesting way to start the race. So then we went green, and lap 38 there was another yellow. This one was for Matt Crafton, and again Joey Logano was pushed into this crash by the 38 this time.
Yep.
So old Todd Gilliland just shoving Logano into that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, William, maybe he didn't see it. Maybe he didn't care. If I was William, I wouldn't care either. But you know,
Yeah.
Uh, it was kind of funny after that to watch someone else just spin on their own, and then here comes Joey Logano.
Just getting pushed into the wreck again. Well,
Yeah.
it's really funny because right before the race they did this like small pre-race segment on the Bristol Slam, they called it,
Oh
where you
yeah,
push a guy into a wreck, and
yeah.
sure enough,
I heard that, and I was like, "Isn't that ARCA braking?"
well, no, it's different. It's different when you push another guy into the wreck and you don't get damage. Arca braking is when you see guys checking up for the wreck and you just pile in there and wreck yourself. That's Arca braking. The Bristol Slam is like Arca braking with style.
They must be cousins.
Yeah, pretty much. So we went green again, and it was another 20 laps. This seemed to be about the trend. It was runs were 20 laps or less, and
Yep.
we'd get another caution. This third spin was for Brad Kozlowski.
Your
Man,
man.
man,
Yeah.
man, yeah. Uh, man, we should just race on the concrete.
I feel like you guys just need to not go to road courses
Yes,
and not go to dirt.
yes. No road courses, no dirt, and then the
Yeah.
six will be all right.
Don't race in IndyCar, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. So I was a bit sad, but also not surprised when I saw that happen. It was interesting. And then coming to the finish of stage number one, there was a big crash. Josh Berry spun out, collected the 11 and multiple other cars. TV never really showed a good replay of what exactly happened, which
No, they
was
didn't.
weird because it was like a big
Yeah.
wreck. But Kyle Larson did win stage number one.
Yes, he did.
Yep,
Dominated it.
absolutely.
And then the sadness happened.
Yes, the sadness happened, which we will get to. But first, let's break down stage number one. This was the freshest dirt surface of the night. Lots of grip, I guess, is how it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
When I drive it on the sim, I feel like there's less grip at the start, even though they're supposed to say like there's more grip. I don't really understand dirt racing, so supposedly this was the grippiest stage of the race. So, Trevor, what do you think of stage number one?
I mean, I thought that TV again let us down. I wish I was there to watch the race.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like when they were focusing on Kyle Larson and Austin Dillon running up up front, like just kind of checking away from everybody, that there was like a lot of racing going on behind,
Yeah,
seventh, eighth spot when you would actually get like that right view. There was like tons of racing. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. They're running away with it.
yeah,
That's awesome. Love watching that. But what's going on back there? I
yeah.
want to see that. And then the Josh Berry accident, like, didn't explain anything.
No,
Didn't cover it. Didn't do nothing. Like, Fox Sports is once again part of uh I've I don't even know how to say it. Like they're not doing a good job in the broadcast.
no, they're not. It's a shame because like as the stage is finishing, they got the camera on Kyle Larson, of course, because he's about to win the stage. But then you see this wreck in the background, and you're just like, what just happened there? You just see a
Yeah.
pile of cars off of turn number four, and not even like under the stage break caution. We really went back and looked at the replay and said, oh, this
Right.
is what happened. It was just kind of like, oh, Josh Berry and the 11 got destroyed. So
Yeah.
what?
And they had a ton of time under the caution because it wasn't like, oh, where's everybody gonna come out at or anything
Yeah,
else.
because they had the no
Like
live pit stop, so you had a 3 minute
right,
break. You had plenty of time to go there and look at what was going on.
right. Yeah.
I don't know.
Uh well, you know,
All right,
so
well
there.
let's move on to stage number two. This is where the race started to get a little interesting. So
Spicy.
um the,
Salt.
the first caution in stage number two was for Jonathan Davenport. He spun out. And then Kyle Larson trying to pass Ryan Priest. Just kind
I
of
mean, he
forces.
passed him.
Yeah,
He didn't try to.
yeah,
He passed him.
yeah. Kind of moved up the track. Ryan Priest was kind of there.
Yep.
Kind of put him
100%.
up in the wall a little bit.
Oh,
That's
definitely put him in the wall.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean that's Larson's thing. Like he tries to pass, and then he has this habit of like, I'm gonna put you in a situation where you're either gonna lift or hit the fence.
Right.
And he did that to Ryan Priest, and Ryan Priest is not happy about that. And we'll get back to that. That'll come back a little bit later in the race.
Very interesting conversations under the radio happen.
Yes,
Very interesting.
yes, it was interesting. I can't remember. I didn't make notes of what happened on the radio conversation, so
Oh, well, pretty much Ryan Priest uh, voiced his opinion on the matter.
yeah,
And I don't know, because I know sometimes that the crew chief and the spotter kind of have a channel they can talk back and forth to each other on.
yeah,
But the broadcast showed, like, that's just Kyle Larson. That's what he does.
mm-hmm.
Screw him, pretty much. And
Yeah,
they were just really bad mouthing Kyle Larson a lot, which I understand. I mean,
yeah.
Kyle put him in the wall.
He did
I'm a Larson fan, dude. I think the kid's great at what he does, but he put him in a wall.
100%. That's exactly what
Um,
happened.
right. So I don't know if they were saying that and fueling up Ryan Priest or not, but Ryan Priest pretty much said, "Well, I'm done with people running me like this."
Yeah,
At that time that it happened.
yeah. So, shortly after that, 34, Michael McDowell spins out full 360 on the track and keeps going, and NASCAR threw the caution for that.
I thought it was bogus, but I
Yeah.
understand why, because he was right in front of a pack of cars.
Oh, he was
But
right in the middle of the field. Like that could have ended
right,
horribly.
yeah.
Like that could
But
have wrecked a lot of cars.
kudos to McDowell for
Yeah.
the 360 flip
Yep.
coming out of turn 4, I think it was, or 2.
Yeah. It was actually like a really cool move.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
it was actually really awesome. And then lap 97, a little bit after that, Daniel Suarez spins. Um, what did I write here? What is this word? I don't know what something with the 22. Um, but
22.
oh, that's right. He made contact with the 22 when he spun out. But NASCAR did not throw a yellow for this.
Right.
NASCAR did
Yep.
not throw a yellow for this. That damage actually wound up ending the 22's day for Joey Logano.
Yep.
That was his third wreck he was a part of at that point, and the damage was just too much that the 22 couldn't go on. And then 2 laps later, Michael McDowell once again spins out, does a full 360, doesn't hit anybody, and just keeps going. This time, NASCAR did not throw yellow. This was like 2 incidents within 2 laps that were just causing cars to scatter, and NASCAR was like, "We're done throwing the yellow flag." Like
Yeah.
it was like they were just like, "This is taking too long. You guys are idiots. We're not throwing the yellow flag anymore." It's like it turned into like D class ARCA on dirt. We were just like, "Yeah, you know what? You guys just go 40 laps. We're not going to throw any yellows. Whatever happens,
Right.
happens. Our hands are off the button."
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a very weird approach because it's like, are we officiating this as a NASCAR race, or are you officiating this as an entertainment race and you just want to get it over with? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I definitely understand what you're saying, and I feel like lately this has been a entertainment sport more than it is a racing sport.
Yeah.
You know.
It was just kind of frustrating because it's like I felt like the Daniel Suarez accident with Joey Logano that should have absolutely warranted a caution,
Right.
and they didn't get one. And then Michael McDowell, you just threw a caution for that same exact maneuver that he just did again, and no caution the second time, even though it warranted a caution the first time.
Well, I think that after the first time, they're like, well, let's see if he keeps going.
Yeah.
And he kept going, so it was like, oh, dang.
Yeah.
The guy with the button that's so happy to like always push it was like this. I think at that moment in time, was like, oh, all right,
Yeah.
he made it. Awesome.
Yeah. But it seemed like they were just tired of throwing yellows, and
Yeah,
they just
I
stopped
mean,
throwing them. It was weird.
I was sick of watching
That's true. I mean, I was sick of it after the first stage.
them.
It was like I kind of asking myself, why am I still watching this? Oh yeah, because I like NASCAR.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Up until this point, I was just more mad that you weren't seeing the action.
Yeah,
Like, and I feel like that's kind of what hurt this race was that there
I
was a
think so
bunch
too.
of action. There was a bunch of three wide racing.
Yeah.
There's probably a ton of slide jobs we didn't get to see. There was a bunch of people coming up through the field at times that
Hmm.
you were just sitting there watching the ticker and this person's passing like three,
Well,
four people.
and I was actually going to bring up this point at the end of the race, but we'll talk
Mm,
about it right now. But because there was only one green flag pass for the lead in the entire race.
right.
Pretty much everybody who started out front led every lap. Whoever
Yep.
cycled out front on the pit strategies and the pit stops led every lap.
Yeah.
The only green flag pass was when Kyle Busch stayed out to start stage number 2, and so did Tyler Reddick, and Reddick passed Kyle Busch. That was the only green flag pass for the lead the entire race.
Right.
So there's clearly was no racing up at the front. You had people trying different lines, but nobody could actually make a pass at the front. Nobody was
Right.
ever got close enough to make a pass attempt at the front of the field.
I mean, there was attempts with the, at least if I remember correctly, with Austin Dillon and Kyle Larson. I mean, he attempted, but he
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
really do anything. You get choked up on the bottom and couldn't get the run that you could get coming off of
yeah.
the middle groove at that point in time. There was a little bit of slide job action I thought happening with Kyle Larson and Austin Dillon and Tyler Reddick. I, I guess that wasn't for the lead or
No, that wasn't
um,
for the lead.
no, I mean that was some good racing. But
Yeah,
I mean it was nice to see that, but yeah.
but I mean, we're talking like in the middle of the pack, they're 3 and 4 wide. How much
Right.
cooler would that have been if that was up at the front?
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if we could take that mid pack racing and move that so that they're running 3, 4 wide for the lead of the race, that would be entertaining. That would be really
Right.
cool. But
Yeah.
instead, you kind of get the leader just kind of gets the clean track and drives away with it.
Right.
And it kind of it made it seem like a really really bad race because that is all the TV showed was
Right.
the couple of guys at the front, and then like the camera would spin, and then you would see them like go into the corner, and then it would catch like the pack down the straightaways, and it's like, oh my god, look at that, they're racing, and then they're gone. Like you just
Yeah.
see that like brief moment of like, oh, there's people actually racing.
That's what kept me in it.
Yeah.
Was I kept what's, what's going on back there?
What's
Oh,
hey,
whoa.
what's that? What's that?
Yeah. 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 No. I mean,
If I could just like take the camera and just like rotate it to the left a little bit and up, and then I can see all the way down there. Like,
can we just watch from the spotter stand?
yeah.
So,
How
can
cool
we
would that
just
be if
have,
they added like a static like spotters cam,
yeah, on like NASCAR.com or something.
or even just like in a tiny window on the broadcast, like just like a small one
Yeah.
where you could
Yeah.
kind of see like the entire racetrack and everything that's going
Right.
on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like that would be like a neat touch.
At short tracks, it'd be alright.
Yeah, it's short tracks. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we did eventually get a caution. This one was for the 41 who spun out from a broken toe link.
Yeah.
Um, when I
after
first saw
contact
it,
with the
so I was watching the spin and they showed it in slow mo, and he did like a 360, started to go forward and paused a little bit, and then spun to the left again. And I was thinking, I'm like, did he notice that like NASCAR was not throwing the cautions for 360s that keep going, and then spun it around another 180 so that the caution would come out? But then
yeah,
they said he had a broken toe link, and I'm like, ah, that's why he did that.
yeah. I was watching when it happened, and I was like, oh, okay. But then when it spun back around, I noticed that instead of the tire being like this, it was like this,
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, broken toe link. And they had been talking about that hole
yeah,
in the middle of the corner, so I was like, dude, did he really just like go in and slam into that hole on the
yeah.
right rear after the
Which
contact with the wall from
I
Kyle Larson?
I want to talk about this hole in the track while we got it, because I don't know why when they had the break, they didn't go out there and fix the hole.
Well,
Like,
because that takes a lot of work.
oh, you can't just
That
throw some dirt on it and flatten it out.
Nah, not really, because the way the clay is,
Okay,
like, it's a clay track. It's not okay. It's dirt, right?
it's dirt.
But
You just throw some dirt on it,
it's
just flatten it
but it,
out. Just
but it's also clay. So in order to really go in and fix a hole like that, you have to kind of like grade it, and
yeah,
then you kind of fill it in that way, and then you have to water it, and then you have to pack it, which, if I remember correctly, they were packing the track on like the first dirt race.
yeah.
They would have the cars go out there, and the water truck would go out there, and they would pack the track. And I just felt like they were this year. They were like, ah, we'll see what happens with the surface. Like whatever
Yeah.
happens, happens. That's how it is.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
seem to do no track maintenance during the race. They just kind of let
no,
the track go. And it just it to me like I'm not a dirt guy, right? And I
yeah,
see this just massive hole in turn number 4. And I'm just
yeah.
like, why is that why is that acceptable? You know, if we were racing like
That's
when we
how
race
dirt
on the
is.
asphalt track, do you remember when Martinsville was coming apart?
Yeah, yeah.
And they
There's a
completely
couple of tracks
stopped
they
they
have that.
stopped the race so they could fix that hole
Well, that's
in
a
the track.
different hole though.
But it's
This
the
wasn't a
same
hole
it's
like
the
that.
same type of thing. It's a hole in the racetrack that is
It
messing up the race cars.
it is, but it isn't. If you ever go to like Volusia or
Yeah.
any of those other tracks that really aren't that far away from you, you would see that like those develop within a race.
Yeah.
If you go do dirt racing on iRacing, you'll see like they start getting you like, what are these bumps? Why are these bumps happening? But you'll start seeing that like they're trying to replicate the holes that happen in dirt racing. It happens
Okay.
all the time, but most local tracks that have dirt races or the big dirt tracks like Eldora and everything else, when they get done with the race, they go out there, they water it, they take care of the track, they repack it, they have packer cars. Like there's a little bit of time frame in between there. I feel like the racing would have gotten better if they would have done that a little bit of prep throughout
Yeah.
this, because so I do dirt oval RC car racing, and about every well we after every class runs their first heat, we'll go out there and we'll water the track, and it gets the track grippier.
Yeah.
And we run clay just like they put on Bristol, and after a while the moisture gets out of the track and it makes it slicker, but it changes, and you have to kind of, even in ours, we have to adjust our car for it and every like I mean it's takes in or it takes some tuning to be able to do these things.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been better if instead of running a 150 lap heat at the end or whatever it was, how I think it would have been better if we had a break in there.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I think that part of the issue and why they didn't do it was because of the car staying out on track. Like who stayed on?
Yeah.
Okay, who was pitting, who was staying on track for the tires, fuel strategy crap that we'll talk about. I know in
Yeah.
a little bit because there's some issues that I have with that.
Yeah.
But okay, so if you come down pit road, don't stop in your pit box. Go to the end of the pit box so that we can prep the track instead of parking them out there
Yeah.
on surface, so that we can do what we need to do and prepare this track
Yeah.
and
Because
make better racing.
I know last year, obviously they had to reset the track because it was raining a lot last year.
Right.
But I think that made for a much better race because during these red flags for the rain, they were taking the time to set the track back up for
Right.
racing.
Yep.
And I was really confused because like I remember like the first year they did this, they once again did like no track prep between the race and it turned into a total dust bowl and it turned
Right.
into a mess.
And I think
And
that's why they got away from the daytime racing though, because the the sun will beat the track up so bad, and with
right.
those cars, you get the dust bowl because there's no moisture left
Yeah.
in the track.
Yeah.
And yeah, but
Well, yeah, but at the same time, like if you saw from the year before where it, obviously they had to reset the track, take care of the track. Why did you not just continue that? You
yeah, I
know,
didn't understand it either.
they just go out there, put the water truck down, pack some dirt in, try to get rid of those holes so you can
Yep.
actually use the bottom lane in 3 and 4 because that seemed like earlier in the race, like the bottom in 3 and 4 was where people were being able to make passes, and you just got rid of that because they would just bounce and spin, and
Right.
it was too big of a hole.
Yeah.
That it was
I mean,
it almost felt to me like a safety concern because it was like too big of a hole that it was causing problems with the cars. I don't know. I'm like I said, I'm not a dirt guy, so I see just like a giant hole in the track, and I'm like, that is dumb. Like
yeah,
let's fix that. Like just grab a bag of dirt and just throw some dirt on it. You
yeah.
know,
If it was that easy,
I don't know, just I don't
but
know.
it built character into the. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know. I see both sides of it. I see
I
your
don't know.
side. I
Dirt
see your
guys,
side.
please don't flame me in the comments because I don't know what I'm talking about. But as someone that's not a dirt guy, please just fix the track next time. Like
Right.
there's no reason to leave a big hole in the track. Like there's not. Um, so we got one more caution to talk about. Um, right before stage two ended, and that was once again for the 6 car. So
Yeah.
yay,
We're gonna start a
yay.
cut. I think we should start a caution count or a spin count on the six car, on anything other than oval.
Well, it's already at 3, so
Yep. Let's see how hard we can go. What's your
actually,
over under
actually,
on?
no. It's he spun out twice at Coda, and then had a an axle issue, which brought out that caution that set up the chaos at Coda. So
Yep.
that's 2 spins and a caution, and then he had 2 spins at Bristol Dirt. So
We're up to five. What's the over under on
well,
10?
I would say 4 because I don't think the axle braking really counts because that's not like
Oh yes, it does. That's a caution,
well, it's not a mistake spin though.
but it's a caution.
Okay, fine. 5
It's a caution
cautions for the 6 car.
It's caution count.
On the two non ovals so far. So
Go Brad.
yes, go Brad. It'll all be so much better when he wins 3 races this year and
Hey,
moves
that'd
into
be
the
cool.
playoffs. So
That'd be cool.
that would be cool.
Yeah. Probably not gonna happen.
It'll happen. Don't worry about it. So there was one more spin before stage two ended, and that was for the 43 of Eric Jones. NASCAR once again decided not to throw a yellow for this,
No.
and stage two ended, and Tyler Reddick is your stage two winner
Yeah.
at the Bristol Dirt Race. So
Because nobody can
I know we've kind of talked about it a lot already, but what did you think of stage number two?
I thought it was eventful,
Yes.
but again, I thought that the front running was kind of boring.
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
I mean that was the case all night,
yep.
and even in the truck race as well, which we'll talk about after this. So
Yep.
The racing at the front has been stale at the
Yeah.
dirt race. So, but the mid back is more chaotic because nobody knows what they're doing. So,
Yeah, that's the great part about it. That's what I thought NASCAR on dirt was gonna be, just a bunch of chaos, and it's not really. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
yeah. All right. So, let's move on into stage number two. So, at the end of stage number two, some guys stayed out, some guys pit, and one particular driver pit, but decided not to take tires, which was Kyle Larson. For some reason, they gave up all their track position and didn't take tires, which I thought was bizarre, considering
One with
they
everybody
pit
else.
after the first stage.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I, dude, I've been trying to think of what to even say at this, but that was so stupid.
Yeah. Well, and it proved itself to be the
Man,
biggest blunder of the night because one lap into stage number three, the 5 car spins out.
yeah. When she was, I went out coming down the backstretch before he spun out. He was passing cars, and I was like, well, maybe since the tire pressure was up and
Yeah.
maybe he knew something that other people didn't know. This is gonna be okay, Kyle. You knew what you were talking about, and then spun it on his own,
Yeah.
and it was like, oh yeah, that really worked for you,
And
bud.
for what I
Sorry.
understand, that was his call. It was
Yeah.
entirely his call. Like the crew chief was
Yep.
like, "We should put the tires on it." And he was like, "No."
Yeah. He's like, can we just keep these tires on? Yeah. Okay. And nobody in the broadcast even knew.
Yeah.
I didn't understand why he even pit after watching what Tyler Reddick did.
Yeah.
Larry Mack said that you can make it if you pit on the first stage, like
Yeah.
before the race even started. If you pit at the end of stage one, you can make it to the end of the race.
Yeah. And that's what our
It,
race winner wound up doing was they pit in stage one, stayed
yeah,
out on stage two.
right. And I don't understand. I mean, Kyle Larson had the car to beat. He would have inherited the lead at that point. Why even come down
Yeah.
and take the fuel? I mean, dude, you've had 100 cautions to this point. You're gonna get the caution flags.
Yeah.
You're gonna be able to save the fuel. You got the fastest car all weekend long. Like, dude, just what the hell, man? And then you don't even take tires. Like,
Yeah.
why come down then? What is the point? Like, did they do a chassis adjustment that nobody talked about? Did they think that putting the fuel in that they had to have the fuel? Was, the mileage not correct for them or something? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. It was a very bizarre strategy and obviously one that lost them the race.
Yep.
But after the 5 spun, we went green a few laps later. The 11 spun out. NASCAR did not throw a yellow for that one. Um, but it was just a handful of laps later that the event of the night happened. And that was the 5 in the back of the field, the 41 in the back of the field, and they just start bouncing off of each other. And the 5 goes for a ride up into the wall, and that's the end of the night for the 5 car.
Yep.
So,
F you, Ryan Priest.
yeah, a little bit of payback going on there.
Yeah, but my question is now is NASCAR gonna do anything about it?
Well, considering it's Thursday, I'd say they're not going to do anything about it, which is
And that
weird because Denny Hamlin did something way less egregious, said it on his podcast, and got penalized.
right. Yeah, I don't know because so I was watching Door Bumper Clear a clip of that at lunchtime today,
Yeah,
and they were talking about the Kyle Larson Ryan Priest thing, and then I lost it, and I didn't get to watch it before this because I actually wanted to hear what they had to say.
yeah,
Um, but Kyle Larson said in his interview after the race that he thinks that Ryan Preece was trying to pay him back for something that he did earlier in the race. Everybody that heard the radio comments felt as though if Kyle Larson got back around Ryan Preece, he was going to put him in the wall based off of the comments made over the radio.
Yeah.
Kyle Larson got back to Ryan Preece. Ryan Preece puts him in the wall, breaks his car. Kyle Larson comes down, hits him, which ricochets off of him because his car's broken and goes up into the wall.
Yeah.
Like, completely killed his night at that point in time.
Yeah.
You know, Denny Hamlin gets in trouble for race manipulation or wrecking somebody or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this is not happening now with NASCAR. Like, I mean, just because Ryan Preece after the race says, no, I you know, I ran him hard, but I didn't intentionally wreck him. Like, dude, bullshit. I know you intentionally wrecked him.
Yeah.
You know, like what Kyle Larson did was squeeze you. All right, you could have lifted. You decided not to lift with the first incident between Larson and Preece. You could have lifted and kept going and kept yourself out of the wall.
Yeah.
You decided not to do that. You
Yeah,
tried to hold.
Larson also needs to stop squeezing people into the wall like that because it's
why?
It's kind of crappy.
I mean, it could be, but it puts. I mean, dude, he tried for laps and laps and laps to get around him. And then finally he had the edge on him. Like, okay, dude, I worked my ass. And Denny Hamlin even said it in Actions Detrimental this week. I seen what he put on there. And Kyle and Denny are friends. And Denny, like, pointed it out. That's a Larson thing.
Yeah.
Like, he will work, but then he finally gets sick and tired of having to work around you. And he's going to make you either lift or go on the grass. Like, that's what happens. To me, I understand where it's coming from, racing on a sim. Like, there are times when you are working somebody and you finally get that edge, and it's like, you hear, clear, not clear, and it's like, come on, man, I've been trying to do this for so long, and I'm trying to get past you, and I am faster than you. Like, where, you know, they were in this second stage. There was so much racing left when the whole Larson and Preece thing happened. Like, just let me go. You know, like, come on. And I feel like that's the way Kyle gets. And I don't blame him for it because I feel the same way at times. Now, I also don't put blame on Preece for sticking up for himself and not lifting.
Yeah.
But if it's your mantra and you know that guy's going to do it, I mean, look at the Intimidator.
Yeah.
If he tried to pass you a couple of times and couldn't get by you, well, here comes the bumper, dude. And you knew it coming from Dale Earnhardt. Okay, so you should know coming from Kyle Larson that this is what he's going to do. So you have a choice to make. And I don't think Larson really badmouthed Preece for what he did.
No, he didn't.
Like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, you know, whatever. But it was hard racing, to say the least. But I think that what Preece did was intentional. I feel like it was intentional.
Oh, it was absolutely intentional.
And I feel like it warrants a penalty. If you're going to penalize one person, but this is NASCAR, so their inconsistency is by far their biggest downfall in any officiating of anything at all.
Yep.
Penalties or whatever. So.
Yeah.
That's my take on it.
All right. So, moving on. We had a yellow for the 42. Noah Gragson spun out. Came to a stop. That brought out a yellow. A couple laps later, the 15, J.J. Yaley spun out. No yellow for that one. Just spun out, kept going. But an interesting caution came out. Lap 235. Kyle Busch spins out, gets the car to pit road, and then NASCAR throws a yellow.
Yeah.
Like, we just saw a car spin out in the middle of the pack and keep going, and there was no yellow. Kyle Busch spins out all by himself, nobody around him. He's off pace, spins out, gets to pit road, no yellow.
Makes sense, NASCAR.
Yeah, tell me that makes sense. But
Makes sense.
I think what they were going for was, let's bunch them up and get a shootout at the end of this race because
Right.
we've saw nobody's been passing for the lead, so let's get some restart action going and let's see if
Yeah.
maybe we could shake up the race for the lead here and get somebody else a
Yeah.
chance. No,
Yeah.
it didn't work out that way, but
He couldn't
um,
start on the bottom.
yeah,
The bottom line could not get a good enough restart to
nope,
contest for the lead.
absolutely could not.
I think there was a couple of times that a couple of cars kind of got a good start,
Yeah,
but other
and
than that,
that was
it
so much earlier in the race though.
right. But I'm just saying, like, I mean,
Yeah,
towards the end of the race, dude, you could not get going on the bottom, and
yeah,
that's why you saw first four cars go up top, and then you'd
yep.
see a car duck down on the bottom at the choose drone.
Yeah, so that
I
actually
mean,
set us up. So Bell and Reddick and someone else, I think it was Austin Dillon, they line up on the outside.
yep,
Ryan Blaney chooses to be that first car on the inside. Chase Briscoe files in right behind him. And then on the restart, Briscoe goes way low, hits one of the bumps on the bottom of the track, like, I don't know, like dirt curbs that they put down there to basically be like, don't go on the apron area.
yeah,
Hits one of those, just launches him up the track, spins out Ryan Blaney, and I was like, I was so mad because I'm like, man, I feel like Ryan Blaney is like the one guy up here that can come shake up this party
right,
with because he at the end of that run right before that caution, he was the fastest guy on the track at that point.
yep,
Like he was catching Reddick, he was catching Bell, like he was on the move, and I was like, oh man, we're gonna bunch him up. Ryan Blaney's gonna have a chance to win this dirt race, and then Briscoe makes the mistake again.
again,
Com-
yeah,
Common thing here with Briscoe and mistakes at the end of races.
right,
Um, Makes a mistake, wrecks Ryan Blaney. We didn't get a caution for that though. And Reddick and Bell kind of raced it out. Reddick was closing in, about to try a massive slider pass into turn three. NASCAR throws the yellow at the last minute on the last lap because Josh Berry and Ross Chastain got together and wrecked. Josh Berry was stuck on the inside wall, and Ross Chastain was parked up at the top side of turn three and four. So obviously, we can't have cars going in there at full speed.
right.
It was definitely a warranted yellow, although it unfortunately ended the race half a lap early. So we didn't get to see something cool from Tyler Reddick, but um,
I think he had something.
I think he did too.
Yeah,
I think if we don't get that yellow at that end of the race, I think we're looking at a completely different finish to that race. I mean, obviously
I
we're
mean,
looking
we
at a
were
different
looking at
finish.
an exciting finish
Yeah, I think it would have been a
to
much
the
more
race.
exciting finish compared
Yeah,
to what we've seen at the front most of the day. But
yeah.
that caution secured it in, and Christopher Bell gets his win, first win of the season. So shout out to Christopher Bell and the 20 team. So
Yeah, man. Good job, dude.
Trevor, what do you think overall of the Bristol Dirt Race, and do you think we should keep racing on dirt?
No,
Nope.
no, no, not Bristol. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh, I wouldn't mind them maybe going to an Eldora or Knoxville or screw it, dude. Make it an elimination. Top 20 make it. Everybody else gets such and such points, and we throw them in the Chili Bowl.
Yeah.
You know, a nice little compact quarter mile dirt track. But don't do it for points,
Yeah.
okay? Um, if you're gonna do a Easter dirt theme, make it something crazy, you
Yeah.
know? Something fun that you can get a lot of these dirt people that want to go to a dirt race and want to enjoy the NASCAR experience and stuff like that. I think that that would be okay as far as a dirt race goes, but
Mm-hmm.
as far as Bristol dirt, stop it,
Yeah.
quit. All right, first year was a Dust Bowl, but it was, oh, we're going to dirt. This is something new and exciting.
Yeah.
You get your new video game or something. Oh, dude, look at this game.
Yeah.
I just got Driver 2, and then you start playing it, and then the next time you go to play it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is still cool, but I've played Grand Theft Auto, so this is not as cool anymore. And then now it's just like, dude, it's worn out. It's not.
Yeah.
There's no exciting. There's no fans there. It's Easter weekend, dude. Let the drivers. If you're not gonna do something crazy, fun, and exciting,
Yeah.
give them the time off. They do 38 weeks in a row or
Yeah.
38 weeks
Yeah.
period,
Give them that
two
off week for
weekends off.
Easter.
Like,
It's
I mean, but then I watched some dirty mo thing the other day, and they were like, football has Thanksgiving, right?
yeah.
They got Thanksgiving game on football. People gather
But
around.
the difference there, not every team plays on Thanksgiving.
Right. No, I
You know
I
that
trust
that's
me.
that's the thing.
I get what you're saying, but any sport, not every team plays on one day.
Yeah.
Okay, NASCAR is like the only. I mean, I can't say only sport, but
Yeah.
racing in general is the only sport where every team plays
Right.
every event. Okay, so I get what you're saying, but football has Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
Basketball games, I guess, are played on Christmas. I don't know. Yeah,
Are they?
I don't. I don't know. I don't
Oh,
know. That's what the guy said. Dude, I don't watch ball
I
sports,
don't.
so
I don't. I don't watch them either.
that's what I'm going on.
Doesn't
All
baseball
right,
play on the 4th of July?
it's something. I
Something like
mean,
that.
yeah, something like that. Like I mean, it almost every sport has their holiday,
Yeah.
right? Um, Heck, NASCAR raced on Fourth of July a couple times.
Yeah.
And they're gonna race on Fourth of July in Chicago this year. But if you're gonna do something and you're gonna have it, try to be the sport of that holiday, make it something new and exciting every time you do it. Like
Yeah.
the Easter Bash or the Easter Bunny visits freaking Rockingham, or
Yeah.
like I mean, I just feel like they could do something better
Yeah.
than Bristol Dirt. And if you have to have a spring race in Bristol like we have forever, keep it on concrete.
Yeah.
Concrete races are better than dirt races
Yeah.
any given
And
day,
and we've seen
anytime.
that every
Bristol is the
year. Every year that we've been
yeah,
doing the dirt, the concrete race in the fall is action packed and super exciting. There's
right.
drama, there's action. It's a great race all the way around. And it's just like you see that, and it's
Oh,
just like, why are we racing on dirt again? Because it's
right.
like, and I'm sure we're gonna have that same feeling again when we get to Bristol in the fall. It's just
Oh,
like,
we are.
oh man, this is great. Why are we doing
Yeah,
this? I mean,
right.
but here's where I stand with dirt. Right, I don't want to go to another dirt track. I don't want to go anywhere. I want dirt to stay out of the Cup Series because they're still working on this new car. We're still working on packages for short tracks. We're still need to work on the super speedway package. Why do we also need to add a good dirt package to the mix when we can't even get the other things correct? Like those are things that we need to work on. We don't need to be messing around on dirt. Like leave the dirt racing. I'm fine with it in the truck series. I think the truck series, if you want to add like 3 dirt races to the schedule, go ahead. I think trucks on dirt is fun because they run shorter races that fit more of that dirt format.
Mm-hmm.
I think the dirt racing on the truck series would help keep it more unique and make the truck series stand out a little bit more. Because
Yeah,
what happens is now you've got this cup race on dirt and nobody cares about the truck race on dirt. Like when the trucks were at Eldora and they were the only series racing on dirt and they ran there once a year, the trucks at Eldora was an event every year. It was something that I
right.
always watched because I'm like, oh, this is interesting and new. I've never watched dirt before. Like it was interesting and new. It was NASCAR on dirt because it was the truck series. It had this big draw. But now you've got the cup race on dirt that pulls in that, oh, let's see NASCAR on dirt that one weekend of the year, and now nobody cares about the truck series race. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
but it's the truck series at Bristol Dirt. It's not the truck series at
Well, they
Eldora
also run
or
Knoxville as well.
uh, Knoxville sucks.
Yeah, I know. But I say this like I
I don't know. Go to dude.
Drop Bristol dirt. Like stop putting dirt on Bristol. It's dumb. Stop racing on Easter. Give the drivers that off weekend. It's going to make the
I can't say that, dude.
okay.
I I can't agree with you on the Easter point.
Okay.
If
Well,
you're
I mean, the only reason I'm saying
but
that is not because of me. Like,
no,
I personally don't care whether they race on Easter,
right.
but I hear what the drivers are saying, and none of the drivers really want to work on Easter. They don't want to race on Easter.
But I think that has to do with the Bristol Dirt. Nobody wants to
Yeah,
race at Bristol Dirt anymore.
yeah, that's true.
Now, what do you think would happen if they were like, "Hey, we're gonna make Easter a throwback to Rockingham.
What about this?
We're gonna put Easter, a North Wilkesboro race on
What
Easter
about
or Hickory or
Nashville Fairgrounds on Easter?
I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like, I get that the drivers are all complaining about
Yeah,
having to be on drive on Easter, right? But
yeah.
I
See,
don't think that it was.
so I almost wonder like, are the drivers just complaining about Easter racing on Easter because they're afraid to openly complain about the dirt?
Heck no, they were all complaining about the dirt.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
see one person that said they wanted to go to dirt. I watched an interview with Kevin Harvick, which he's never been wanting to go to dirt anyway, so
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to be like, yeah, we need to stay on dirt. And he doesn't care anyway because he's going to the Fox booth next year. But no, no. Kyle Larson,
Yeah.
who's a dirt guy, said,
Absolutely
no
not.
more.
Every year.
Yeah. Bubba Wallace, no. I mean, those were the ones that I seen, and I didn't get to really watch a bunch. I got a lot of stuff going on outside, with the new house and everything
Well,
else.
I
So
saw both of the RFK drivers were like, "Yeah, we really missed the concrete." Like,
yeah, well, yeah, of course. I
yeah,
mean, I missed the concrete at Bristol,
yeah,
but I, I can see them going to like a little bull rink short track dirt track. I
yeah,
mean, I can see it in the cup level. I think it'd be cool to watch the Xfinity guys do it.
yeah.
I
I
mean, they're
just,
oval races,
I
dude,
just
and
think
we're
the,
American. We're American oval stock car race,
yeah,
okay? And yes, we have little short asphalt tracks and stuff like that, but there are more dirt tracks in America than anything else. And NASCAR started on dirt tracks.
yeah,
Okay, so with the history behind NASCAR, and I love the history of NASCAR. I love it. That's why I am such a huge NASCAR fan, because if it was for the racing lately, and I'm talking the past 5 years, there's no way I would be a NASCAR fan.
yeah,
Okay, like I just wouldn't do it. But I love the history of NASCAR. That's why I can say keep a dirt race.
yeah,
Okay, keep one dirt race. Don't go to five. Don't go to three. Don't even make it two in a year. Don't do that. One dirt race for the Cup guys kind of pulls in that history.
hmm
The historian. I can't think of the words to say right now, but it keeps the history of the sport in.
yeah,
Okay, I kind of like the fact that we're doing a street course, because NASCAR kind of started from everybody not having to rip down the streets anymore, and started
yeah,
racing on the beach at Daytona, and started racing, all their moonshine running cars. So I think that's going to be, I can kind of get behind that a
yeah,
little bit. I can't say no to dirt, and I can't say no to Easter, but it is a NASCAR, please don't ever effing go to Bristol Dirt ever
yeah,
again. Like, just take that dirt and go make a new parking lot
hmm
somewhere, or put it in a bag and sell it on freaking
yeah.
eBay as this was
I
the
mean,
Bristol Dirt.
I will say this because they haven't even announced anything about tickets for next year's Bristol Dirt Race
I don't think it's
yet.
coming back,
I don't think it's coming back. I think this is the
because
last year of Bristol Dirt.
last year they put it right in the broadcast. Oh, we're
Yeah,
coming back next year. It
yeah,
was a big announcement, and it was like, uh, All right, you know,
Yeah, this year there was no announcement of the like, so
no,
I think they have something different planned for the Bristol Dirt Race next year.
yeah.
And I guess we'll just have to wait and see what it is.
And I wouldn't mind them going, okay, well, during the summertime, we're just gonna cover it up in freaking dirt. You know, cover Bristol in dirt in the fall or after the spring race,
Mhm.
and keep the late models and those guys that race
Yeah,
dirt racing. Let them go there and race at Bristol with their dirt cars. I
yeah.
mean, I know it was a big event last year that they had it when they had a big thing and there was a bunch of people that went there for it like the week before the NASCAR race. I don't remember if they did
I
it
don't even think they did that big of a show this year.
right.
Like I
So
know like they had like World of Outlaws and stuff like that the first two
yeah,
years. It's like all
right,
the sprint cars, the late models, the street stocks, like everything modifieds, everything was at Bristol Dirt. It was like this big thing. They didn't
right.
have that this year. It was just the
No,
NASCAR weekend, as far as I'm aware.
well, there you go. Sell the
So
sell the dirt on eBay. People will buy it just to say they got it.
yeah, and just seeing the crowd that showed up for the Bristol Dirt Race this year, I'm just like, they can't be making money on this race with the cost of moving that dirt in and out. It just
I'm watching the stream and it just went black.
what?
WebRTC failed to negotiate offer from server. Is that just
Uh-oh.
my stream or is that your signal?
It has indeed gone down. Oh, there we go. Just refresh the page. Should be good.
Okay. All right. My bad.
Yep.
Sorry, folks.
I restarted the stream, so
Oh.
should be back now. There you go.
Hey, welcome back.
All right. Shall we move on to the truck series?
I mean, if you want to,
Yeah, we
I
can.
didn't get to watch it.
Okay. Well, we'll go over it pretty quickly, and then we'll talk about the spicy news for the week. All
Yes.
right. So like the Cup Series, the truck race also had qualifying heats. So I'm going to go over those real quick for you because I know you didn't watch these either.
No.
Heat one, there was one spin for the O2. Ben Rhodes won heat number one. Heat number two, Colby Howard stopped on the track with a mechanical issue. Tyler Ankrum cut a tire down, and Stuart Friesen won heat number two.
Okay.
Heat number three, this was the messiest heat race of the day. Carrick, I don't know who that is. Some truck guy, new guy, dirt guy, I think. Carrick overcorrected into Daniel Dye on lap four, and then a couple laps later, Daniel Dye lost his right rear tire, spun out. So those were two yellows in that third heat race, and Joey Logano won the race. Heat number four. This is probably the best heat race of the truck series. You had a fantastic battle between Matt Crafton and Raja Caruth.
Mm-hmm.
And Matt Crafton held off Raja Caruth for heat number four win. It was a really good battle between those guys. So
Heck
that
yeah.
was probably the most fun heat race. So starting the truck series race, there was a big crash right on lap number 7 of the truck race.
Oh yeah.
Massey spun, collected several trucks, including Taylor, Gray, Carpenter, and Rhodes. So a bunch of trucks got damage earlier. Joey Logano got the lead pretty early in the race and never looked back. So we'll get to
Right.
that.
Heard
Lap
that.
27, Tyler Ankrum spun, collected a bunch of trucks, and Logano, as I just mentioned, led all the laps, won stage number 1. And then we just had like a whole bunch of spins in stage number 2. No big crashes, just spins. From Ekes, Carpenter, and Wright. They all spun around, 3 spins, 3 cautions, and Logano wins stage number 2. Stage number 3, Chase Purdy goes around after contact with Zane Smith and collects Christian Ekes. Lap 109, Chase Purdy lost a left rear tire. Lap 121, Carpenter spun and hit Timmy Hill. Lap 130, this was kind of the drama moment of the race. Ben Rhodes battling up front, getting up on the wheel like Ben Rhodes does. lost control of the vehicle on the restart in front of all of the other fast cars that were trying to catch Joey Logano, and took out Stuart Friesen, Chase Briscoe, and a bunch of others. Pretty
Yeah.
much ended their day short of the win, or short of the finish, I should say. And then Joey Logano went on to win the race. So it was action packed. I actually liked this race a lot more than the Cup Series race. Just for
Sounds
some
like
reason,
it.
the trucks actually put on good racing on the dirt.
They always do. They put
Um,
on good racing everywhere they go.
yeah, and I think with it being a shorter race, I think really helped with that as well, because
Right.
at the moment where the Truck Series race ended, you look at the Cup Series and they still had another 100 laps to go at that point. So the Truck Series ends, and the same thing with like the Cup Series race. If that would have just ended at stage number two, oh, that was a good race. Let's move on, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But you get into that third stage, that final 100 laps, and then it's like, oh boy, what are we doing here? Because
Yeah.
now it's a mess. Now it's taking forever and it's exhausting. And with it being dirt that nobody really runs, I don't even think anybody really likes it except like regular dirt guys.
Even at that, dude, like, so I went, since we didn't have the podcast yesterday, I went out to the RC car track, and
Mm-hmm.
dude, these guys are super dirt heads. I mean, they really are. They go to local dirt tracks around here when big events go on and everything,
Yeah,
and they're dirt guys, okay? And they even said, "Well, I watched this NASCAR race because I thought, hey, it'd be cool to watch a NASCAR race on dirt." But about halfway, I said, "Don't ever do this again because it's just not
it's not.
something they even want to watch."
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, being dirt guys, they're like, dude,
yeah,
throw late models, whatever. Throw the NASCAR guys into a bunch of late
yeah,
model cars. That would be cool.
yeah.
Throw, the back when they used to have the Stewart, Tony Stewart did the Dream
Prelude to the
race.
Dream.
Yeah, Prelude to the Dream at Eldora, and you would have all those guys come from all the different, like the SRX, all the different
Yeah,
disciplines, and race those cars on the dirt. That would be cool.
yeah.
Don't
I just don't think using the Cup car on dirt just it's not worth it.
Not at Bristol anyway.
Not at
Because
Bristol.
the package Bristol will bring.
I'm willing to see it one more year at somewhere different, but if it's still just like is not entertaining, then it's time to just move on from it.
Eh, I mean, yeah, I get it,
I,
but
I think that would be the only thing like I could say from this dirt experiment is let's move it somewhere else and see
and
if
they
we
need
get
to
a
do
better
something
result.
different with the tires.
Yeah,
Okay, you can go a whole race on one set of tires. I mean,
yeah,
that's ridiculous if you ask me.
yeah.
There's
They need the tires to wear out a little bit more, make those matter, and
Yep.
just do some track prep between the stages. Like
Yep.
just do some track prep. Like
Yeah.
that's all you got to do. And I think you'll have a. Ooh, excuse me. I think you'll have a much more interesting race. So, let's move on to news. So last week we talked a lot about um, NASCAR appeals
Yes.
with Denny Hamlin and colleague racing and all that. So, and then obviously the Hendrick appeal process that NASCAR was openly upset about. So NASCAR decided to make changes to the appeals process that they are more happy with. So, of those two changes, the big one here is that when an appeal is processed, NASCAR can publish publicly the justification as to why an appeal was approved or denied. So NASCAR now has that option to take the justification from the appeals panel for why they made the decision they made.
Right.
So NASCAR can now publish that information if they are upset with something or they have an issue with it. They can now release that information.
I think that they need to release the exact penalty and how I think that so watching the action detrimental thing, and Denny
Yeah,
Hamlin talked about how his email was worded and that's why he appealed it to begin with was because the way that they worded what he had done versus what he had actually done, he had felt like he was getting a penalty that wasn't actually worth penalty, and
Yeah,
he didn't do what they were penalizing him for. I think they need to publish that
yeah,
exactly. I think that if it has to do something with a part on the car,
yes.
show us that part.
Well, they started doing that actually.
Did they?
Yes, the greenhouses that they penalized Hendrick for from Richmond, they actually had them on display outside the NASCAR hauler at Bristol this
Oh,
weekend. So
yep.
they are going back to that, where if you got an illegal part, we're going to put it out there so everybody can see it. They're starting to do that again. So
Well, that's good. I didn't get to see that part. I was
yeah,
in Mexico, so
yeah,
um, but still, nobody ever got to see the louvers. You
no,
know, I mean, that was kind of like, okay, well, what was wrong with the louvers? What did they do?
yeah,
Hey, I want to see the innovation. I want if it was actually wrong,
yeah,
I want to see why they what they did and why you chose that it was wrong. Like, what was it doing? We
yeah,
have all of this technology. Show us what it did with the air. Like, I mean, dude, there's people out there that want to see this stuff so that maybe they can engineer something in their car that
yeah,
will be cool, or it's like the SCCA races and all that other stuff. Like, dude, that would be cool to see. Let us see that. Learn us. You know.
yeah,
But I think that when the appeal process and they actually the appeal gets granted, that
hmm,
they don't get penalized, like Hendrick didn't get penalized, but then they penalize colleague like they
yeah,
penalized colleague. I want to know the justification on why Hendrick didn't did you know or we just like Rick Hendrick better than Matt Colleague,
yeah,
or I want to know
yeah.
why.
And I think this will move forward. We'll get more transparency on that so that people aren't
Right,
just like, well, what's really going on? And it's not just for like the race fans, it's for the other teams out there as well. Because you've
right,
got other teams looking at that, especially colleague racing, like why did they get off and we still have a penalty?
right. Yep,
It's the teams and the drivers and all that are just like, what was the reason for this being a penalty versus not being a penalty? So I think this rule change is actually going to be a good change. This next one is interesting. So the next change they made is that the appeals panel may not completely remove an element of a penalty. So if a penalty is points, money, and suspensions, they can reduce those within a they can change that value within a minimum and maximum threshold, but they cannot completely eliminate that. Which would so like in this situation, like we talk about Hendrick had a 100-point penalty that was just completely eliminated, like 0 points. Like I would assume that like they would have like a minimum of like 20 to like 150 that they could either extend it or reduce the penalty to.
right,
And that's obviously set at NASCAR's discretion for whatever rule they deem. So like there would always be some penalty associated. If you have a penalty, you would no longer be able to appeal something and just get off completely free. You're appealing for a reduced penalty, not a removed penalty,
right.
which I think is gonna, in very interestingly, change up the appeals process moving forward.
Yeah, why even appeal anymore if you can't get
Yeah. Well, and I think that was NASCAR's point, is because we're handing you out penalties because you're breaking the rules. You shouldn't be able to appeal those and be like, oh yeah, look at that, no penalty, look at this.
right,
It's like we found something. You can talk us down and prove why that was wrong, but it's still wrong, and you're still going to get some kind of penalty, even if it's like a reduced. So it's like, well, we don't think it was that severe of a penalty, even though that's what the rule book says, and then kind of taper it down. So
right.
interesting changes. Excited,
Yep.
just not. I don't. I want to say don't want to say excited, even though that's what I just said, but I'm interested to see how that changes the rule book issues and violations moving forward in the future. So, one last bit of news. We got actually two bits of news here. So, the first one I want to talk about Cody Ware, who actually sat out the Bristol Dirt Race. Matt Crafton filled in for the 51. Is indefinitely suspended by NASCAR after being arrested for domestic violence I'm not going to go too much into the details there. But Cody Ware was arrested, and Zane Smith is taking over the 51 moving forward. Or
Oh,
actually, I
really?
don't know if
I
it's
didn't see that.
I don't
I
know if
didn't
it's
see that.
moving forward. I know he's at least in there for Martinsville. I think misread that, but Zane Smith will at least be in the car for Martinsville.
Hmm.
I don't know if he's gonna permanently take that over or what's gonna happen, but so Cody Ware out. The meme is dead. No more meme. And Zane Smith in for Martinsville. So Trevor, what do you think about that?
Hey, you do the crime, you do the time. I I don't condone anybody doing all of the things that he was all the allegations against him.
Yeah.
Pretty brutal, and really, there's no reason to have anybody in any sport,
Yeah.
period, across the board, where someone can look up to a person that's going to do that to another human being,
Yeah.
especially a man to a woman. I'm not trying to justify, woman on woman or man on man crime or anything else like that, but
Yeah.
that the way I was raised, you don't do that to women.
Right.
You and you don't deserve to be in our sport. I don't care if your name's on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I I don't, you know, my
Well,
opinion of it is I don't even think he should be able to have his damn car on track anymore with what he did. Okay, like I I I am highly against those what his allegations are.
right.
Okay, and everything, but if it is 100% factual true of what he did, dude,
Yeah.
I don't even want him to have any part of this sport. There is
Yeah.
plenty of people that want to be in this sport. It would create a bidding war on that charter that he has.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I feel like there's more deserving people to have another car on the track or be able to come into the sport
Mm-hmm.
or anything else that and he shouldn't, to me, he shouldn't even be able to have any stakes in the sport at all. I don't care what kind of money he has. I don't care what he's got. You pull it all away from him. Yeah, I get it, he's spent suspended indefinitely, but
Well, Cody's
in
just the driver. He doesn't run the team.
isn't it Cody Ware Racing?
No, it's Rick Ware Racing. His dad
Oh,
owns
oh well,
his dad owns
well
the team and
anyway,
fields the car. So
all right,
him
well,
being suspended, like they're not going to take the car away off the track because
well,
it's not
you know,
it's
whatever.
obviously a family name, but Cody Ware
I
does
just
not have
remembered
any
it was.
ownership stake in the 51 team.
Oh, well, I figured. I just remembered it was Ware Racing. I
Yeah, no,
forgot it was
it's Rick Ware
dad,
Racing. That's his dad.
but well,
But
yeah. Hey,
yeah,
kudos to him.
it's terrible, terrible news. Like
Yeah.
people like that absolutely do not deserve opportunities to go race in front of thousands of people every weekend. Um,
No.
he needs to do his time,
Right.
and like I said, even though it's the 51 team, not the best car out there. That is a potential ride for somebody to come in and try to make a name for themselves in the Cup Series. So
Right.
I'm
Yep.
hoping Zane Smith does a good job in that car at Martinsville, and we'll have to wait and see who fills in for that in the future. And the last bit of news, we're gonna end on a very positive news here. Coming off of
Yeah.
some rather unsavory news. Chase Elliott has finally returned to the racetrack at Martinsville after being out for a snowboarding incident following Auto Club Speedway. Trevor, how do you think Chase Elliott is going to do at Martinsville this weekend?
I mean, I don't know. Right.
Yeah,
He's very good at Martinsville.
right.
Great track for him to come back. I highly doubt that you're gonna see a major effect in his racing ability coming back because right now he is sitting in a sim somewhere.
Yes,
Okay? If he's not sitting in a sim, then he probably just got out of a sim
yes,
or he just got done working out to make sure that he is going to be in the best physical shape that he can be in.
Yeah.
Um, and you look at when Kyle Busch broke both of his legs at Daytona. When he came back, you could not tell that he had just broke his legs. He came
Yeah.
back swinging, won the championship that year. Uh, I, I, I'm excited, and I would not be surprised if Chase Elliott finished in the top five.
Yeah. I think he'll
Something
be
like that.
I think he'll be up in the top 10. I am curious to see like how his leg handles all the acceleration and braking needed at Martinsville, because it's a much more physically demanding track than other tracks to come back to.
Right.
But I think I don't think he's gonna run like 20th by any means,
No,
but
no.
I expect him to run kind of around 10th,
I mean, yeah,
kind of.
top 10, top five.
Yeah.
I really think he'll be in the top five.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
he's
mean, I
very
don't get me wrong. I hope he is up front, because
right,
that's gonna, bring back all this energy and excitement that I feel like NASCAR has been missing the past couple of weeks without Chase Elliott at the racetrack.
right, yeah.
So
But I mean, Josh Berry, dude. Now that you know, well, Rick Ware's probably got Ford, right? That's why Zane Smith is going in there. I think he runs a Ford. You run a Ford or a Chevy? 51 a Ford or a Chevy?
Ford,
I know it's not
they're
Toyota.
Fords.
Yeah, all right. Well, never mind. Josh
Yeah.
Berry ain't gonna go drive that, but
No.
I mean, what we see now, dude, it's great that Chase Elliott's coming back,
Yeah.
right? But at the same time, it's sad to see Josh
I
Berry
I would
go,
have loved to see Josh Berry race Martinsville. That would have
right?
been great.
I mean, yeah, and I think that he could still get a ride somewhere, you
Yeah.
know, um,
I mean, he had.
even if it isn't
I mean,
in the
running second
greatest,
at Richmond and getting top tens in most of his starts. Like,
right?
he did a great job. Like,
Yeah,
good job,
and
Josh
it's
Berry.
yeah, great job, dude. Like, way to go to just be thrown in it like that
Yeah.
and perform, you know, like.
Hmm.
I mean, it just goes to show the amounts of talent that Josh Berry has, and it's gonna be sad to see him not racing now because it's like, dude, he came in and did better than Noah Gragson, you
Yeah.
know, and Noah Gragson was kicking his butt last year in Xfinity, but now, you know, he comes in the Cup cars and he was kicking Noah Gregson's butt,
Yeah.
you know, better equipment, yeah, but still, dude, you know,
Yeah.
I
I
hope he gets the shot he deserves in
I
the
I
equipment that he deserves
I think
in
we'll
the
see
future.
Josh Berry full time in something within the next year or two in the Cup Series.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's talks
He's
that Junior could
Yeah.
be in
I
Cup
mean,
race.
he's absolutely. I feel like with his sub driver role in the 9 car, he's definitely earned us a right to race in the Cup Series
Right.
on
Just
performance
like
wise.
Alex Bowman did. Alex Bowman came and subbed for Dale Earnhardt, and
I
granted,
mean,
but with Alex Bowman, I get it, dude. He ran a bunch of other
yeah.
races in other equipment, right?
Hmm.
And he didn't really do good. Then he comes and he gets a shot with Hendrick, and then now he is the 48 car,
Yeah.
right? And that's what I'm talking about. Like Alex Bowman got that shot to come in good equipment, kind of showcased his talent and his ability. Now you got Josh Berry who came in and beat Alex Bowman.
Yeah.
What, 3 out of 4 races that he was in?
Yeah.
I mean,
The only one he
that
didn't
just
beat him in is that Las Vegas race where he kind of just looked like a fish out of water. But
well, because he was a fish out of water and it was
yeah.
his first race back. But I
Yeah.
mean, like I mean, come
You
on,
can't
dude.
judge someone on their first ever start.
And it was like so abrupt too.
Yeah.
No practice, no nothing.
Hmm.
Vegas is one of the worst tracks to get thrown into
Oh yeah.
in that car.
In
So
those conditions that the track was under as well. Like, it was
right,
very difficult
yeah,
track conditions.
yeah. So
Um,
no, I'm super excited.
well,
Can't
looking
wait.
at looking at Martinsville, let's make some picks. Who do you got for Martinsville?
Well, I am going to pick Joey Logano because my picks always end up in a dying, fiery crash. So
You know what? Same. I have not been very, like, I have like cursed picks.
ah, I mean, dude, who am I gonna curse this week that I think would do good? Hmm, I think I'm gonna curse Kyle Busch.
God Bush. All right.
I mean, I really think Kyle Busch can go out there and win it.
Yeah.
Um, I also think all of the Hendrick guys can go out there and do
Yeah.
Hendrick things at Martinsville.
I'm gonna.
Hell, Martin Truex could do it too. I
Yeah.
think he would. I think he maybe no. I'm gonna pick Martin Truex.
Martin
That's who I'm
Truex.
gonna pick. Yeah,
All
that's who I'm
right.
gonna go with. Now that I now
That's
that I'm
actually a really good shot
thinking
because
and I'm
he was one of the best at Richmond until they put
yep
the bad tires on the car. So
right yep that's who I'm gonna go with.
yeah.
On my educated who I really think could win it and but yeah I think Martin Truex is gonna be
Okay.
stellar.
I'm gonna go with the easy pick this week, and
Oh yeah
I'm gonna pick William Byron.
yeah
I mean, he's been the hottest driver this year so far with 2 wins.
he is
He
yeah
won this race last year.
yeah
So
yeah I
I'm
mean
gonna curse William Byron this week. So
damn I
stop
was
his
hoping you were
momentum in
gonna
his
pick Denny
tracks.
Hamlin. That's who I was hoping you were gonna pick.
I cursed him enough at Richmond. Oh, that was a rough one. Sorry,
Yeah.
Denny. My apologies.
No, that's why I was hoping you were gonna pick him. I
Yeah.
mean, come on, dude. I don't want to
Uh,
see Denny win.
yeah.
Shit.
Well,
No,
William
he's gonna be good
Byron.
though
I
too.
think William Byron's gonna win Martinsville this weekend.
Yep, that makes sense.
So,
Makes a lot of sense.
well, I think that's gonna wrap up the show for tonight. Thank you everybody for watching live on Glimish, and
Yeah.
if you are watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. You are very appreciated. Make sure you subscribe to the channel
Yep.
and
We
leave a comment
appreciate it.
below. Let us know what you think. And we will see you guys next week. We are planning on moving our live shows from like the Wednesday Thursday window to a Tuesday window. So
Yes, we are hoping.
that is the plan. To try to get
We're
a
hoping.
dedicated time slot that fits into both of our schedules. We've been kind of bouncing around. We've both been really busy this past month, and I'm going to be busy in a couple weeks. So
I'm gonna be busy like for months, dude.
yeah,
But yeah, thanks everybody out there for
yep.
all y'all's support. We
Thank you,
appreciate
everyone.
you, and hope to see you on Tuesday.
Yep, we will see you guys on Tuesday for the JT Pit Stop at Martinsville. Bye bye,
JT
everyone.
Pitstop.